Hey guys, it's Gina here. It is Monday night. I'm here with my husband, Caleb. I think this might be your first time doing Facebook Live, is it?
Yes.
Okay. So, the reason why I'm here tonight, and I'm on so late too, is because Caleb's leaving for a business trip tomorrow, and I just realized today that this will be the last time that I'll have a chance to bring him on here before the end of the week. And as you saw in the title of this video, I brought him on to kind of talk about my wife fails a little bit. There's not too many, but there really isn't. But I want to share with you because it kind of goes along the lines with this Take Back Your Time group coaching class that we have that's starting in a couple weeks. Registration ends on Friday. But why I'm here is because I want to tell you is that this group coaching class really came out of my own experiences, my own mistakes of myself not managing my time very well in certain areas. And yeah, so I just know that even if there's just one of you listening right now or tomorrow or whenever you listen to the replay, I just know that someone here is going to be able to identify with what we have to say tonight. So this is totally unscripted. I'm just going to kind of lead the conversation. We won't be too long. And it's been a long day. Like I said, it's 9 o'clock. I think about 9 o'clock maybe?
Sure.
I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Both kids are in bed, and I still hear one whining a little bit, so there might be some interruptions, but hopefully not. So, Caleb.
Yes, Gina. How's it going?
He's like, you really want to do this? You really want me to get on Facebook Live? I'm like, I do.
Okay.
So why don't you just share a little bit about me and my personality?
You and your personality. All right, guys, this may be the last conversation we ever have as a couple, so enjoy it. Now, Gina's an extremely meticulous, detail-oriented, hard worker. She's one of these people where if she wants to learn something, she'll buy more than one book. We've got bookshelves over here filled with lots and lots of books. She'll find out every aspect of something. I mean, down to the subatomic molecules. If you want to learn how to do ads, she'll figure that out. If you want to learn how to, I'm sure she could probably hack a computer at one point. I don't know. She can probably do everything, but she's very detail-oriented. She's also very, very driven and extremely focused, which is one of her strong suits and one of the things that I admire about her tremendously. So, yeah.
Thank you. So when I have an idea, let's say, whether it's for a project, like even maybe a house project or a business idea, which I get a lot of those. What kind of happens?
Well, you talk about it, and then you research, and you research, and you research, and you research, and then you get into the details, and then you plan it out, and then you execute it, and usually we're all on board. So
usually we're all on board. Well, what I was hoping you'd say is, It's okay, no, it's okay. I dive in, and I've kind of learned now that if I have an idea for something, or if there's something I want to do, that I'll kind of put it on the shelf for a little bit and pray about it and think about it, because a lot of, I guess, my natural tendency and how I've been over the years is that I'll have an idea and then I'll just kind of jump into it 110%, and you should finish like the sentence.
Okay.
I jump into it 100%, and then what happens?
And then the world fades away. Yeah, no, she does. She's, like I said, she's extremely focused, which is a wonderful thing. But sometimes she's focused to the point where nothing else exists or matters. Whenever she has a project on, she eats, breathes, and sleeps to the point where I'm like, if I never hear about maximizing my Facebook ads ever again, I probably would be happy. Or, oh my gosh, I can't believe that, some sort of eWeber thing or something with her website, where she just, she'll live, eat, and breathe the whole thing to the point where everything else just kind of exists.
Yeah. And I think a lot of this stems too from when I was in architecture school. I went to school to become an architect. It was 5 years, and one of the classes that we took every quarter was our studio class, where we built our models and did our projects, and it was like you spent like all your time in this class, 80 hours or more a week, and you had deadlines, and you just did whatever you had to do to get it done. Like you do all-nighters, you'd stay up all night, and I learned really fast that doesn't work for me because I'll get sick within like 2 days of doing that. But I think I've just been trained from, especially going through college, is that I'm intensely focused, and when something has to get done, then I put everything towards that. But I would say probably the negatives of that, I mean, that's a very good quality, but one of the negatives of that is that I have tunnel vision, and everything else around me, just like you said, kind of fades away.
She doesn't multitask very well. She can't, it's, well, I shouldn't say it that way, but see, that's why it's live. See, this is fun, live stuff.
I'm actually a very good multitasker.
See, this is why it's a live conversation. No, it just gets to the point where, but she'll have her most intense focus on whatever she's absorbed in.
Yeah.
And everything else obviously gets done, but maybe not to the intensity of whatever that project is.
Right. Like you can, well, and I'm sure he would say this, that you can tell where I put my importance or what's really important to me by where I'm putting my time.
That would be a correct statement.
Right. So if something's important to me, I'll buy a book and I'll start reading it. And that's where I put my time. So he has had to sit me down many times. We usually have this conversation at least once a year. Where he has to kind of sit me down and say, "Okay, Gina, like you need
dial
to
it down.
Dial it down. Shift your focus a little bit over there. Shift your focus towards me a little bit more. I mean, just to be honest. So I think one of the things over the last couple of years is that's just personally something that I've had to work on. And the reason why I bring this up is, a couple, I would say maybe a month and a half ago now, I put a survey in our group, and overall everybody pretty much said, for the question the question was something like, if there was something you wanted to learn, what would it be? And I gave you about 10 different options, and there were 3 of them that had to do with time management. And one of them was, for those of you that wanted to start a business or that already have a business, was that you wanted to learn how to run a business or put time towards your business and not have it, sorry, there's a pop-up here, and not have it run into your family time. And then a couple others, what were the other 2? It had to do with time management. I'm sure I posted it somewhere in here. But that is something that I have had to work on, is not letting my businesses run into family time. And so what I've learned over time is that I've had to put boundaries in place. And so that wouldn't happen. And at the end of the day, I don't want any of my businesses to get in the middle of our marriage.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen it happen tons of times where people have gotten really excited about their business and they just go full-fledged into it, and not even talking to their spouse about it, or maybe their spouse doesn't even want them to do it, but they continue to do it. I've seen this happen.
Yeah. It got to the point where I was jealous of Gina's affair with this guy called Hewlett Packard. And so, she was spending more time looking at her laptop than she was looking at us. Or me in particular, because I'm selfish. What do you want to say? But I got to the point where I was ready to throw the computer out into the garbage and just be like, oh, I don't know where it went. Oh, so what a shame. Oh, we'll just have to hang out together, spend some time together.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
But what we've worked through it, and a lot of it, was just communication and having to really hear what he's saying, and what the scripture says, to be, what does it say in Proverbs? To be, quick to listen and slow to speak, right? Is that, or slow to anger or something?
Slow to anger, quick to listen.
One of those. And so, definitely you want to have good communication. If any of you are, pursuing a business, or you have an idea, or even if it's just a passion of yours, a hobby or something like that, and, you just want to make sure that, you have good communication about it and that you're both on the same level. So, but I was saying, I've seen people who have been in business before and it just takes over their life, and then it just gets in the middle of your marriage. And I like how you said it's kind of like an affair, right? We went to, I don't know, how long were we married? Maybe 3 years when we went to that marriage retreat thing?
Yeah, it was about 3 years, yeah. Weekend to Remember by Family Life.
Yeah, Weekend to Remember by Family Life. A family member sent us, not because we were having issues or anything, but we just went to go. We just went to go, and we learned that there are 5 types of affairs in a marriage, and the first one that you always think about, right, is your spouse cheating on you, that kind of affair. But the other affairs, I can't remember all 5 of them, but I remember 2 of them were having an affair basically with your kids, where your whole marriage is just centered on what your kids are doing, and you forget about the 2 of us, and one day your kids are going to be gone. So once they're gone, you still want to have something left, so you got to put your marriage first and your kids second. Anyways, and then the other one, I think, probably had something to do with work.
Or time,
yeah, where you're a workaholic, and you're not giving your spouse, what they need and the time they need, and I don't know if you've ever read that book by Gary Chapman, The 5 Love Languages. My love language is quality time, so and I think it's also been acts of service, so it's acts of service now. So like when he
That's why I do the dishes.
yeah, I was gonna say when he does the dishes, man, it turns me on. I'm just like, woohoo! Anyways, so but yeah, mine's quality time, you know, and it's also quality time to give to people, you know, and so when I'm not giving him quality time, that's really bad. That just says something really bad. So anyways, I have had to create boundaries where I know by pretty much like 3:30 during the day, computer is shut because I have to make dinner and he comes home at 5:30, you know, plus I have to pick up my daughter at 3. So when they come home, you know, I want to have it shut. Does it happen every single time? No. But it's the general rule that I live by now. You know, I'm not 100% perfect. You know, we all make mistakes, you know, or, you know, kind of cross the line here and there. But how would you say? Would you say that I've improved over the last year and a half?
Oh, yeah. Over the last, well, ever since you started getting into your own businesses, you've definitely gotten to the point where there's a good balance. And that's what she's found, is that she still has the same drive and the same passion for what she does and the intensity, but she's also got a balance because... yeah, it's one of those things where she's no longer on one end of the spectrum, you know, just work, dream, whatever. I mean, you know, there's obviously the other portion of her life over here, and so we've got a nice middle ground, which is nice, which is great.
Yeah, and I'm thankful, you know, that we're open enough where he can tell me, you know, if something's bothering him, and
I'd internalize it a bit for a while there. I'd get all cranky and angry and in a huff, and then finally I realized, well, if I communicate my feelings, wow, that sounds like a therapy session, you know, and I let her know, and then she realized it, because she would assume that just because I was sitting on the couch watching television or something, she's like, oh good, I can sit there with my laptop and I can work while he does whatever, when really I figured I was just biding time until she was done with what was on her laptop, and I was like, oh good, then we'll spend time together. Well, this goes back and forth until it's like 10 o'clock at night, and I'm like, well, I gotta go to bed, and we haven't done anything together except she's been sitting on her stinking laptop the whole time, and I've just been sitting over here. So communication is key on both sides of it. Husbands, wives, significant others, goldfish, whatever you got.
Definitely. So, well, anything else you want to share? I don't think so.
Thank you, Shannon and Rachel.
Yeah, thank you for joining us.
For being here. Welcome to our living room. I'm glad.
9 o'clock at night.
I'm glad we vacuumed.
We're very tired.
I know, I look like 90.
You do not. Anyways, you guys, the reason, again, why I'm sharing this is because I know that if it can just help one of you to know that, you know, that there's other people that go through it, and to just, you know, give you a few tips, if it just helps one of you, then it's worth it. I want to be an open book. Thanks, Rachel. It's 11 there. Yeah, you're like awesome to go on at 11 o'clock at night. I'm ready to like turn into bed. But yeah, so I just want to bring Caleb on to like share a little bit about that, and like I can say for myself that I know it's gotten a lot better, and it's because I've had to really look at, okay, how much time do I have, you know, and there's different seasons too. Now our kids are both in school. Like James goes 3 days a week, Abigail goes until 3 every day. So it also is going to depend on, you know, the seasons of life. And I also want to mention really, thanks Lindsay, I want to mention too, if you go onto the website yourmorethemom.com, go to the More the Mom interviews. If you go to the resources tab, it will drop down, and I did an interview with Rayma Mariello, who she posted in the group today, her weekly challenge video. Anyways, listen to that video. It's a really good interview with her. She talks about what happens when God puts a dream on your heart. You know, and all of you are in this group because I think we're all similar. We all have dreams that God has put on our heart, and they're there for reasons, but there's a certain season that, you know, is probably the more perfect time for you to work on it. And, you know, when I had both kids at home, when James was first born, you know, he's my second child, it was pretty much, you know, just working during nap times. And I don't work much at night, you know, but if you're someone who can only work at night, it's like, okay, you got to talk to your husband and say, hey, is it okay if I work from 8 to 9 and then 9 to 10 is our time, you know? The only times I work at night is Tuesdays when he's at prayer group or Thursdays when he's at Bible study, you know? So, again, you know, I'm trying to do things when, you know, the kids are at school, he's away, and it's really helped me too, because knowing how much time I actually have in my day, going through, what I did is I went through and I tracked it, and I found, okay, this is how much time I really have today, you know, learning to be intently focused during that time so that I have the evenings to spend with my kids, to have fun, to play, to do dance parties, hang out with Caleb, watch a movie. I don't feel guilty about it anymore because I know that I had that, let's say, hour during the day or a half hour to work intensely and focus. I did as much as I can during the day, that time. Even if I didn't get everything done, it's okay because I know I got done what I could get done during that time. It leaves me now feeling at the end of the day as if I accomplished something, and I'm not so worried about, oh, tomorrow I've got all this stuff to do. You're like, yes, I have all this stuff to do on my to-do list, but I can be at peace knowing that I did what I could so that now I can spend time with my family and it's not taking away from them because they are my first ministry. They are my absolute first ministry. So, all right. Let's just open it up to some questions. Let's see if anyone has questions. Does anybody have a question? I'll just hang on for a minute here. I know there's like a little bit of a delay. So
I don't know how this works, so it's just like, do they...
Yeah, so you type in at the bottom of the window here if they have any questions, and there's about like a 10-second delay. So if someone asks a question, you have to wait a couple seconds. And then
Operators are standing by. Call now.
My husband's really funny.
Not right now. I promised I'd dial it down.
He keeps things interesting. Yeah. Well, I don't think we have any questions. If you listen to the replay and you have a question, just post it and I'll answer. Again, I hope this speaks to even if it's just one of you, then that's a good thing. All right, you guys. So like I said before, we have the Take Back Your Time group coaching class starting on, I think it's May 9th. It's Tuesday, May 9th. I have to look at the calendar. But registration for that closes this Friday. So here we go. How does your husband feel about You Are More the Mom other than your pasta business? They know I used to do a pasta business.
I like it better than the pasta business. It's much cleaner. But that's probably not why you're asking, because I used to come home and this would look like the Italian version of Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory with little children making pasta all over the place. No, I like this more because there's less focus on a physical product and more in developing people. Because I've seen what Gina's now applying to others that she's had to apply to her own life, and it's made it. I think it's. I mean, don't get me wrong. She makes really good pasta. I mean, it's delicious. I'll take it every night of the week. But what she's doing to help.
It's not good for our bellies.
No, it's not. But what she's doing to help minister to others and let others use that as a ministry as well is far more fulfilling, and it's also carbohydrate free. So it's pretty good.
Yeah. What was I going to say about that? Yeah, I think some of you have shared before that I've shared to some of you before that I had a pasta business at one time and the flour was everywhere and it was in the cracks of our wood floors and it was just like crazy.
But again, that's Gina. When she gets into something, it's not like I mean the whole house just looked like this a giant pasta factory. So.
Yeah, like it was laying everywhere around the house and stuff. But I did well at it. Like I sold a lot of pasta. That's how I learned to sell. But over time it was just like so much manual labor. Like I didn't want to do it anymore. It wasn't good, so and now I hardly ever make pasta anymore because I think I just am like.
It's a shame because it is really good. It's really good pasta.
Yeah, but okay, so like I was saying, registration for that group closes on Friday. Go to yourmorethemom.com. I'll post the link below, either tonight or tomorrow below this video. It closes on Friday. It's a group coaching course, which basically means we're going to meet once a week, and it's going to be very much like this, except I'm going to see your faces too, and you're going to have the ability to talk. We're going to see all of each other on the screen. We're going to have some weekly homework. It's not going to be like crazy homework or anything, like a lot of stuff, but it's going to give you some practical ways to really see, okay, how can you carve out some time? Where are you spending your time? Maybe you're saying yes to too many things. Maybe you're a people pleaser. That's how I used to be. I still deal with it. It's something I'm trying to get better at all the time. We're going to put together our family priority statements that basically say this is what our priority is, and it's going to be used as a filter so that when anyone comes to you and says, hey Gina, do you want it? Can you do this for me? You're going to either be able to say yes or no right away because you know what your priorities are. You're going to have clarity about this. We're going to bring in scripture. It's going to be biblically based. We're going to say, okay, what does God say about how we should spend our times and how should we be ministering to our families and people outside of our families and that kind of stuff. So the cost of the group is $97. That's 4 weeks of coaching, and I can guarantee you that the money that you invest in it, it's going to come back tenfold. Like I said, I'm going to be sharing with you just the mistakes I've made and how I've learned from them, and how you can really end your day feeling at peace, have more joy. Something I always deal with is I've always felt like, oh, I don't have enough joy. It's because I was stressing myself out, and because I take on too much and I get overwhelmed. So I'm going to be sharing with you how you can avoid overwhelm and how you can really end your day feeling at peace. So please look into that. I will put the link in there, and yes, I just invite you to join me for the month of May so we can take back our time and see where we are really spending it, and really just glorify God with the time that He's given us. All right, everybody. Ciao. See you later.
Go to bed now, all of you.
Bye.